In today's digital age, data centers are the beating heart of our interconnected world. As technology races forward, its digital powerhouses are evolving at breakneck speed, and this has forced many boardrooms to craft a delicate balance between innovation and sustainable growth, all while expanding into uncharted territories. It's a high-stakes game that's reshaping our societies in ways we're only beginning to understand. To that extent, today we sit down with Don MacNeil, Chief Revenue Officer at global hyperscale house EdgeConneX, to delve into the company's strategic vision, sustainability efforts, and the transformative role of AI in reshaping the industry. From navigating market uncertainties to spearheading growth in emerging markets, MacNeil will offer insights into the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead for this dynamic sector. Don, it's a pleasure speaking to you. We are coming towards the end, well, the beginning of the second quarter of the year. It's definitely been quite a busy 2025 already, but it's also been very busy for EdgeConneX. You guys have been expanding tremendously across the entire world. Can you start by painting a picture of what you're doing in terms of expansion across the globe, and especially emerging markets?
Yeah, well, thanks. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for the opportunity. And you're right. It does seem like we've already been a year into what it was only just one quarter, but yeah, EdgeConneX continues our exciting expansion. Over 80 data centers, 60 markets across 20 plus countries. So yeah, I mean, as we continue to look ahead, we see tremendous opportunity continue in all of our regions, but most notably, we also think the Asia Pacific region continues to be pretty exciting for us, as not only just the continued expansion and growth of cloud, but also fueled by kind of the excitement of artificial intelligence. And I think, to be fair, I think we're all still sorting out the overall impact and also the opportunity. And like any good technology, I think it creates a tremendous amount of excitement and anticipation, if you will, of where it all ends up. But we all know it's here to stay, and certainly going to be very, very profound and impactful in all of our lives.
You seem very excited about Asia Pacific. If you had to pick up one market in Asia Pacific, one country or metro, what's the one that's most exciting for you?
To me, it's a toss-up between Malaysia and Indonesia right now. But
okay.
Yeah, just if you think about those two countries unto themselves, and just the population, the digital competence, if you will, and just more the opportunity of an emerging market, you certainly can see a tremendous amount of opportunity there.
No, absolutely. I mean, we've been hosting stuff in Indonesia for the last 2 years, and of course, Malaysia has played a huge part, especially in 2024 as well. So there are two very, very exciting markets that we are witnessing literally just flourish out of nowhere and grow like crazy. I remember some stats with Johor with 11 megawatts, and now it's planned for more than 1 gigawatt in the space of 5 years, which is, it's mental, if I can use the word. But Don, so of course you guys have been very busy as well, but as we said, 2025 has also been very, very busy all across the board. And nonetheless, we have a new White House administration. There's been a lot of shakeups in the markets, especially the stock markets and all sort of things. How does a company like EdgeConneX navigate all the uncertainty, all the volatility that goes around the market? How do you keep your revenue model in line with your investors' expectations?
Well, I think it's a great word, navigate. And as I step back and think about just the overall market dynamics, I mean, I think really we have this interesting confluence of market drivers. And I think over our collective careers, if you look back at any one time, there may be just one of these market drivers that's impacting the market. But it certainly hasn't happened in my professional career, where you have the confluence of several. And sometimes it seems like all of them are working against you. But I think, how do you navigate through it? Well, I think first and foremost, you keep that proverbial North Star. And for us, it's really about our company values, which is customer, people, and the planet. And I think if you stay focused, as we are, on those, your guiding principles, I think it steers you through, or navigates through all of the challenges that maybe sometimes seem a little unsurmountable on a day-to-day basis.
How much does customer retention weight on EdgeConneX's overall revenue model? And then how do you balance between getting new clients, new logos into the board, versus dealing with the ones they already have?
Yeah. Well, I think for us, probably the most pronounced component of our business, what I'll call the original Edge business, it's really where those two dynamics come together. That is retaining customers as well as acquiring new customers. So, despite all the excitement and energy around hyperscale and building out large data centers, our edge business continues to thrive, and candidly, we've been growing it year over year. And so for that reason, the nature of the customers, the nature of that product, which is more kind of a co-location, if you will, we have a focused team that's their sole mission, is to take care of those customers, whether it's helping them deal with any trouble tickets or billing issues, but most importantly, making sure that we're serving them well, and that goes for existing customers, but equally for attracting new logos. So again, with this movement into AI, I think already you're starting to see kind of a resurgence or a reinvigoration, if you will, of the edge, all through the lens of AI.
Have you seen the Edge and AI? I mean, Edge, it's not new. AI is even less new than Edge. And I think we still haven't figured out the definition for Edge to begin with. We're not going to go down that route today. But have you seen it change your model a lot in the last, let's say, just 24 months or 12 months? Because it's really exploded.
Yeah, I think just anecdotally, I'd share, if you think about our early days in the edge, which was driven by a lot of the over-the-top streaming video, latency sensitive applications that are proximate to the end users. I mean, you can certainly imagine a world where in the not too distant future, as all the excitement about gigawatts of large language model training, where it all now becomes, very real and very usable, you can certainly see a model that translates over into inference, right? That is that interaction with those models. And so, yeah, we're seeing some early movement, some early movers. Some are legacy edge customers that obviously understand the value of reduced latency and proximity to end users. But I think those models are starting to evolve already.
And I think it does come down to the use case as well, because not everything needs to be right next door. I mean, we usually say you don't need to look at your cat pictures as fast as a surgeon needs to operate someone's heart between Japan and London, for example.
That's right.
And then I guess another thing that really weighs now into any operator's model and revenue investment, CapEx, it's really the sustainability, the green energy side of things. I mean, you can't get money if you don't have a sustainability framework on how you're going to do your business. How has that evolved for EdgeConneX in terms of securing capital, in terms of generating revenue? How important are those things, and how do you adapt?
Yeah, I mean, and again, another great area that, EdgeConneX, we don't avoid this. We run at it, if you will, and really have embraced it. That third value, if you will, of taking care of the planet is front and center for us, right? So whether it's our commitments to renewables, and then more importantly, as you said, not only can you not, it makes it more difficult to borrow money, but more importantly, we sign up for the accountability around sustainability as it pertains to our platform and our customers, and not only our own support and commitment to sustainability, but that of our customers. So I'm pretty excited about the involvement of our teams, and increasingly now, as you well are aware, early engagements with customers, it's not unusual now to have a sustainability conversation as part of the diligence or part of the onboarding process. So it's very encouraging to see not only our own commitment, but equally the broader community.
Yeah, it's an ecosystem that needs to come together. Again, you can't do it alone. And I think nothing proves it better than the sustainability conversation or the climate change conversation.
Yeah, and to that point too, our equity partner EQT has a very strong commitment into the renewables, and we work very closely with the portfolio companies at EQT with regard to their development projects, and we're always looking for opportunities where we can collaborate and work together to bring the renewable component not only to our customers directly, but equally into our own projects that we're doing in-house as well.
Okay, and actually, it's a good point, because one thing that you guys have really been working on is really this transparency around letting the customers understand where the power source is from, what's powering the servers, where the power is coming from, if it's renewable or if it's not renewable. How has it changed the relationship with clients when you give them more transparency? Do they want more transparency into other departments now as well? And then how does it work in terms of workload balancing? Because are you at a point that, for example, you can just answer whenever there's a peak in terms of server operationality?
We've done some trials with that, and I think honestly that's a great area where ultimately, you think about artificial intelligence being resident and the platforms being resident in all of these data centers around the world. You can certainly imagine where AI unto itself becomes a very value add component to exactly that. So yeah, we've done some trials here in North America with regard to being able to identify the source, the energy source, and help advise our customers on when may be the best time to accommodate workloads. That said, we certainly know we're not alone. I mean, I think some of the larger hyperscalers are literally looking at that hour by hour. So we're always happy to collaborate and cooperate, if you will, where we can to help them achieve those very aggressive sustainability objectives.
Okay, and I mean, one thing that's going to consume a lot of power is, like you said already, AI, LLMs, machine learning. All is going to really, really push everything we've done so far to a whole new level, a whole new limit. How is EdgeConneX kind of adapting to answer to that new infrastructure needs? And maybe is there a difference between markets? So North America will most likely be ahead of places like Asia or Latin America. How do you balance the geographical reach as well?
Whether you want to call it behind the meter, bring your own power, on-site power generation, we very much have embraced that. We are comfortable with it. We have a in-house expertise, and we've also, again, cooperate with our equity partner EQT with regard to some of their investments they've made. In particular, Scale Microgrid, which is also kind of a new portfolio company that we're working very, very closely with to help bring that to reality here in North America.
Interesting. And before we go into the future conversation of what's coming for the market, I mean, you are a Navy man. You've had a long career in the Navy as well. You have a career in the tech industry. How would you say that your Navy experience has influenced your leadership style in the tech side of the world? How does it influence your day-to-day and with your team as well?
Yeah, no, thank you for that. And and I appreciate the navigate question, because it certainly kind of brought
It kind
that.
of fits. Oh, sorry, to keep swimming doesn't fit that well. Sorry, we want to keep
No, it was
navigating, not
good. It was
swimming.
good. But look, I think one of the things I learned throughout my career there, you oftentimes had to operate with imperfect information, as did the team or the crew. And so for that reason, I think one of the real tenets for me with regard to leadership is, really having the empathy for not only the situation, but for the team with regard to those times of ambiguity. And I think we're in one of those right now, right? And so, as I said before, all kidding aside, the analogy of the North Star, in this case, the company values, I think it's always been true. You may embark on some uncomfortable situations, whether it be at sea or some sort of catastrophic casualty, which was always very difficult. But again, if you stuck to your principles and your values and guided your way through, you'll come out the other side of that storm. And again, I think this is one of those periods where it is very easy to get a little frantic and pulled to the side. But those days of sailing at sea at night in uncharted waters, if you will, I feel fortunate to have had those experiences.
Yeah, I think we are in a period as well that's important to look into the future, look ahead, not just to tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. But speaking of tomorrow as well, I guess one of the big questions that everyone has in the data center space, it's what's coming next. What's the big technologies that are going to transform the data center, the data farms, the AI factories? What would you say is going to be the most impactful one in the next 5 to 10 years? Something that we are not really paying enough attention that you think is going to transform the game?
Well, I think in a way, all of this, AI has really caused us as an industry, I think, to really reflect across the board, not only on just everybody focuses, for example, on liquid cooling, but I think it also is, what can AI do for us? So as much as we're building these, large data centers, and they're bigger and they consume more power, I think it's also challenging us from an innovation standpoint of how we can use AI, for example, in the planning process. And we're looking at some of those tools as well. How can we use AI in the day-to-day operation, whether it's, as you pointed out earlier, being able to balance workloads consistent with the energy source. And as well, I think there'll be some opportunities for predictive maintenance, for example, right? But again, I think it's the proverbial, being able to drink your own champagne, so to speak, where we're hosting these large AI platforms, and how do we do it? So, yeah, I mean, we're very excited. I think, as we all know, it's very early innings, but I think we'll very quickly evolve from hosting and housing these large models to being bigger consumers and benefactors, if you will, of AI technology.
Interesting. I mean, and like I said at the beginning, we are kind of coming into the middle of the second quarter of the year. What can we expect from EdgeConneX for the rest of 2025? In terms of cutting ribbons, this is the question like you guys never like to answer. But what can we expect in terms of new things coming to market, especially pins on the map?
Yeah, I think we have some more things underway in Asia Pacific. I think we're also looking at some new opportunities and some new excitement in EMEA. So, for example, our largest market by far and historically has been at the forefront, but we continue to expand and develop in EMEA as well. So yeah, I think it's halfway through the year, but I think you'll continue to see more expansion in those two regions in particular, as well as North America. I think we have a lot of exciting things underway here, where just due to the focus and the demand and the opportunity, we continue to look here right in our backyard, so to speak. And then on the product front, I think we've put a lot of energy. You talk about AI, maybe a little bit more benign stuff, but how do we start thinking about the overall structure of the data center, right? Internally, we've branded it what we call Ingenuity, and I like to think of now the core infrastructure of the data center as being that backplane architecture to provide our customers the greatest amount of flexibility well into the future, over the next 2 decades. So have to think about obsolescence when it comes to the data center and the data center environment.
John MacNeil, Chief Revenue Officer for EdgeConneX. Thank you so much for talking to me. I really enjoyed our time, albeit quite short, but I really enjoy this. As per your home, thank you for watching, and do check our website and social media for the latest digital infrastructure news from across the globe. At the Tech Capital, you lead, we report. Bye for now.